Hello, welcome to the channel. Today I'd like to talk about doing difficult things. As well as being like a box of chocolates, I think life can often be like a bicycle ride. Sometimes it's easy, you're just cruising along without too much difficulty. But then often you hit an uphill, and that's when you have to decide. Do I want to just stop here and go no further? Should I turn around perhaps and go back the way I came? Or should I persevere and climb to the top to where I originally planned to go? Usually we will carry on. Some hills are steeper than others, some are longer than others, some are long and steep. It can be very difficult to keep going, to have the motivation if you can't see the top of the hill. When you ride a bicycle, you can do hill training, you can prepare for the hills, and if you do it regularly or often, you will get stronger. Hills never get easy, but I think you do tend to go up them faster. I feel like I've had a really good summer. I've done a lot of cycling and I've done a lot of hill climbing, and I feel that I have made progress. It was with this in mind, and with my newfound confidence on the back of my longest ride achievement, I decided that I would challenge myself to a ride to see how many meters that I could actually climb. The goal was to find a rather hilly route. I was not looking for distance, merely to find a route where I could achieve the most meters climbed without going too far. Since I live in Devon, it's really not difficult to find plenty of ups and downs. Those rolling hills, those lovely green hills, can be really quite a challenge for an overweight dude on a bicycle. I had a route in mind, a circular route that was mostly on back roads, so my very slow pace was unlikely to inconvenience anybody too much. This is the route that I was thinking of. So I went out and did a bit of a scouting ride. Sure enough, after only 15.5 kilometers, I had achieved about 360 meters of climbing. The only drawback to this was some of the hills were really steep, so much so that I had to stop more than once just to get my breath back. At times, the gradients were more than 15%, so it really wasn't something that I enjoyed and not something that I wanted to repeat. The perceived effort on this short ride was much greater than the data seemed to show. So I decided this wasn't for me, and I scratched out this as an option. So instead, I decided that it would be a better option to drive my car down to Eggersford Station, park there, and then climb the hills on the one side towards Winkley and on the other side towards Chorley. Both uphill sections are fairly longish, and I could end in the valley at the bottom. So when I got too tired, it would simply be a matter of rolling down to the bottom, jumping in the car and heading home again. Being a bit of a coward, I didn't set myself a specific target. Instead, I decided that I would just go out, ride as much as I could, and see how it went. Life is generally not like that. We invariably do have a specific goal when we're faced with an uphill challenge. And unlike a road, which is always the same, barring a few potholes which may spring up here and there, life will often throw us some curveballs that we weren't expecting. The parts that we think we have a quick solution for to move forward efficiently often turn out to be more challenging and really try our patience and commitment. It's these unexpected blockers that can be the most frustrating. Although the clouds were quite heavy on the day of my ride, I still applied the mandatory sunscreen, SPF 50 for me, and I also wore my sun protecting sleeves. If there's one thing that I could tell my younger self, it would be to take better care of my skin. What I didn't realize is that there is a cumulative effect of repeated sun exposure. Living most of my life in Africa and enjoying the great outdoors and the lovely sunshine for cycling and motorcycling, my skin is very badly damaged. I often get solar keratoses that occasionally have to be surgically removed. It's too late for me, but perhaps you can learn from this. So I headed out as planned. The traffic wasn't too bad, although I didn't leave early. I left the car where I planned and I started on the hills immediately. It was pretty tough on cold legs heading straight into a hill. There was no warm-up, and straight away I found myself on the steep bottom section of the road up towards Winkley. which wasn't ideal. But by the time I got to the top, I had managed to get my breath back. And overall, it was really good, apart from one instance where I actually turned around in the end because our silly country lanes, there was a tanker going up and a caravan and a car coming down, and neither of them could get past each other. The caravan was struggling to reverse into a field, and I decided I'd seen enough and just turned around and came back. Luckily, I didn't have a specific goal at the top of that hill that I had to achieve. Otherwise, I would have been very frustrated. I changed the settings on my Wahoo so it showed a continuous total meters climbed reading, which was pretty nice, although it did click up rather slowly, so after a while I stopped focusing on that. As with my long ride, I focused on keeping my heart rate at a manageable level, which for me is sort of around 144 beats per minute. I try not to go over that if I can avoid it. On some of the steeper sections, it does creep up a bit, but that's okay for short periods of time. The first stretch up to Winkley, the outskirts of Winkley, I think I'd already achieved 180 meters of climbing. For some reason, I was convinced that the return leg from the outskirts of Winkley back to Eggersford Station would reflect the same amount of meters climbed as on the way to Winkley. It took me way longer than it should have to work out that Eggersford Station is at a lower altitude than the outskirts of Winkley, so the return leg couldn't possibly have the same number of meters climbed. It did, however, have a short, sharp climb past Winkley Forest, which really was a challenge. The total meters climbed reflected by the Wahoo bicycle computer is possibly not 100% accurate, but it really is close enough for my purposes. It's a great little device. Okay, I'm back in Winkley. Well, on the outskirts. I'm at 617 meters of climbing, 26 kilometers have elapsed. That's my new record of climbing. I have to go back past Winkley Woods, down the hill to the car. I don't think I'm going to go any further today. It's starting to get a bit mizzly, but more importantly, I'm tired. Towards the end of the ride, as I became more tired, I focused on the next small steps, the next intersection, the next 50 meters. This enabled me to celebrate each little milestone rather than focusing only on the big goal. This is probably a good strategy for all of life's challenges. If we look too far ahead, the road can seem less clear and might often feel unattainable. All in all, I did 34 kilometers and 750 meters of climbing. This was quite a bit more than my previous best, which I did some 13 years ago, so I wasn't unhappy with that at all. So what did I learn from all of this? Damn, I'm still not good at hills. Hills will always be hard. I think the important thing is don't be scared of the uphill sections in life. With a bit of perseverance and obviously some logical thinking and maybe some planning, we can achieve most things that we set our minds to, and it's worth taking the risk and going for it. Don't avoid the hills. Don't try and go around them. Don't stop at the bottom and just look up. So I think in life, don't compare yourself to other people. We're all on our own journey, as I've mentioned before. And I think as long as we feel we are going forward and making progress, we're challenging ourselves and we're taking steps, we're taking on new challenges, then we're doing well. It doesn't matter what the guy next to us has done or not done. I wouldn't have dreamt of embarking on a challenge like this at the start of summer, but here I am and I did it and I'm quite pleased with that. Thanks for watching.